Hi there, and thank you for visiting Stamping in the Barnyard. My name is Bethany Barnard, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'm just hopping on here very quickly to share this new card that I've made with really a fun fold that is so easy, and I wanted to share it with you all. And it's using the Fluffy Squirrel stamp set. I'm trying to reach it here. It's got some cute verses of "Can't wait to see you again," "Go nuts, it's your birthday," I love that, "May you gather happiness," and then these two cute squirrels, a present, an acorn, a little stump to stand on. It's just such a cute, easy stamp set to play with, great for the fall. I love it in conjunction with our Gathering Together DSP, that's an online exclusive. And this stamp set does come with this coordinating punch, which punches out one of the squirrels. Actually, it's this squirrel that it punches out, plus also an acorn. So it just makes it so quick and easy to use, and I love it very much. So this card, the neat fold in it is "Go nuts, it's your birthday," and then you open it and it says "May you gather happiness," and you have the two squirrels here. Love it, and it's such an easy fold, and I wanted to show it to you. So let's get started. So we're going to start with just a normal 8.5 by 5.5 card base. And from the stamping, what did I tell you it was called? Gathering Together DSP, which is online. And can you see this great gold piece? I love that. We are going to put these pieces that are 4 by 5 1/4 on the inside of the card. So we'll do that first. I am really loving this fall paper. It's got to be one of the prettiest papers we've had all time. There's like 6 sheets, I think, with this beautiful, well, this has the gold and the plaid, but just all these different leaves with different colors. I love it so much. And I've made another card that I put up on my YouTube channel, and I'm saying the same thing, raving about this beautiful paper. So this, when I tried out this fold, I just couldn't believe how easy it was. I don't have a name for it. I think if I was going to name it, I'd probably name it something like four square fold. That sounds like a good name. That's what I'm going to call it, a 4 square fold. But what do I know what it should be called? Okay, then on the front page, we're going to go ahead and do this piece. Oh, beautiful. You can see just how quickly this comes together. Okay, so this is another 4" by 5 1/4 piece of designer series paper. And you're gonna see this back side here, it kind of looks like wood, but in a beige color. It's actually our basic beige color. And I don't know how well you can see it mixed with a little bit of white. And this is the basic beige background with the other that the leaves are set back upon. Okay, so there's our front. Then we're gonna take our arches. What are these arches called? There's a whole set of them, and they just get smaller and bigger. This one is 3 inches across the bottom, and that way you'll know it's the right one for this card. And then I'm going to take my stump stamp. My stump stamp, I like that. I'm gonna stamp it in the early espresso. Oh, you know what? I want to do the words first. See, I should have this here so I can look at it. "Go nuts on your birthday," and I'm going to do that in the Cajun Craze. I just love that saying. I've seen some people when they're using this stamp set for a card, but it's not somebody's birthday, they just say "Go nuts." That works too. So here we have go nuts, it's your birthday. Now we're gonna do that stump. And just a reminder that I always put all of the measurements underneath the video in the description box so that you can make this card at home and prep all your materials in advance. Okay, so at this point, there's just a few things, the acorn and the stump, that need to be filled in. Otherwise, they're solid stamps. So again, making it quick and easy. And what I do is I kind of outline this in the earliest, I stamped in the early espresso, and then I kind of have outlined this in the early espresso. And then I'm bringing in some curry, crushed curry, because those are the colors in the designer series paper together with the Cajun Craze. I like to mix the colors that way, and I love, you can use a blending pen, but I love to use my Wink Stella to blend my colors. It makes it so easy. It just picks them up, and you can see how it gets them right into the corners, and it kind of blends the colors together, which I think gives you more of a realistic tree look by having those two different shades. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is, in a spare piece, and I've used the Very Vanilla here, we are going to stamp the squirrel that you punch out. And so that's the one, that's this one that faces this way. I recommend, highly recommend, that you do the outline first. I think it's so much easier to line it up by stamping the outline. And then you don't have to stamp off with this. Isn't that great? So you just ink this up. And then I like to look for 3 points, like in a triangle. So his feet, his tail, and his ears. And it's harder when it's with the camera, but I'm hoping I can do it. I might have to stick my head in a little bit, but if you can line up those 3 spots, you're almost guaranteed to get it. Even me not being able to go over, like put my head right over it because of the camera, I was able to do a pretty good job on that. I love it. And then you will see that this great punch will cut the squirrel out. It will probably cut the acorn shape as well, but I'm going to also show you, I need to cut the bottom off to get it in the punch. But I'm going to show you another way to get all the acorns in a minute. I shall show you that. So let's see, we got him. It's looking good. You want to make sure it's centered. And then you can see this isn't going to quite get the whole acorn because of the size paper that I had. But that's okay because I already have something prepped for that. I've already stamped some of my other squirrels, but I did want to do that in front of you so that you could see how that was done. Okay, so then I think it's really cute if you have, these are some of the acorns I did earlier. I am going to show you how to color them in a second, but I do use my watercolor pencils from Stampin' Up. I am just going to put a dab of glue on the back of his hand. And then let him pick it up. That's the idea anyway. I want it to be seen. It's such a cute. And then I'm gonna, before I glue him down onto this stump, I really like to give just a soft blue, usually pool party background. Can you see that here, how I've done that? just very faint and soft. And I love that because we can punch it out, we don't have to worry about stamping and coloring over it. So that's looking good. Get it up to the top. I don't like to me, less is more. And so I like to just keep going. And it can look like you're hardly getting any down on it until you put the image around it, and then you can see it some more. Now I am going to go a little bit darker than that. I know I'm really rushing through this, but got that kind of a day today. And I really wanted to share this with you while it was still fall, and not in January when I felt like I had more time, which never really happens. I don't know if you're that way, but for me, it never really happens. Okay, so then I'm gonna put the squirrel on like that. Isn't he so cute? I was pretty sure I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and forgive me for it ringing away. I'll have to check what happened there that it didn't get on, but hopefully you'll be forgiving. I know you will. You guys are great. Okay, so now we have our little squirrel on there. Now I could pop him up, and if it was just a plain card, I absolutely would pop him up. But because of all the mechanisms on the inside, I wanted to keep it flat, you know, for the envelope and all. So then I'm just gonna put, you know, thinking the triangle and thinking 3, I'm gonna put an acorn here. I make a mess, don't I? Especially when I'm in a hurry. And I want to put another one here. So we get sort of our 3 acorns going on here. That odd number that always looks more balanced. Put it here like that. There we go. And then I can just put that straight up on here. I did not even see that I got a little tiny mark. Can you see that there? Now, I don't know if I have it with me. I normally do. I'm going to take a quick look in my magic bag, because I find the best thing to use when this happens, yep, is a very soft emery board. And then I just kind of in a circular motion, kind of like an eraser. Whoops, I forgot I hadn't glued that on yet. Just until it disappears. That's my little tip to you. Now, this really is soft. It's not, you know, a real abrasive one. But see, now that mark's gone and I feel better. So I keep one of those in my crafting kit all the time. And then we have I just basically do the outline, but I guess I could go a little firmer. And then so in the middle here, making it straight, that looks good. I mean, this is a cute card, just like this. It is a cute card, don't you agree? By the way, one of the things I want to tell you about, this is our two-toned, from our two-tone 12 by 12 cardstock. You'll see this side, in fact I have more of it here so I can show you. You have the dark side and then you have a lighter side, and you can choose which one you want to use, but that's our two-toned 12 by 12 cardstock. We have it comes in all of the core colors that we have. And one of the things I like about this is that if you are going to make a card with a special fold, it's not as thick as our cardstock, but it is strong so that it it can handle like the opening and closing, but without as much bulk. So don't forget your two-toned 12 by 12, because that, amongst other things, is very helpful. Okay, so now we are going to take this 5 by 4 piece of that two-tone cardstock in Cajun Craze, and we are going to score at 1/2 inch and 4.5 inches, which gives us a 4 by 4 square in the center. And then we're going to also do a straight line down the center, which is at 2.5. So this is at the 5, right, instead of the 4 sides. So on the 5 side, you're going to do 1/2 inch, 2.5 inches, and 4.5 inches. And then this was a great tip from somebody, but they had me do a permanent marker down the 6 inches, which is just great, because then you can, if you want to do an X in this middle bit, you can make sure that this score starts in that gully, bring the other end of the score here, and this is how you get a really nice diagonal score. Isn't that cool? And so now I'm going to do the same thing and get another diagonal. I'm going to just move this a little bit. There we go. Whoops. Again, trying to keep this on the video and keep my head out. And so you've got that intersecting point. And that's all the scoring you have to do on this. And you can do the same thing on a trimmer, and you would just line up those pieces. Here, I have my trimmer here. But just so you know, you would do the same thing. This would be your, what on my score board would be this line here. And so you would put one here and one here and just score it. I'm missing my scoring tool on my trimmer right now. I do have a spare, but because I haven't used my scoreboard more often, I don't have that with me. So then you want to do your you want to decide actually, do you want the light side or the dark side? I think this time I'm gonna go with the darker side. So you want to bend, once you have the darker side, you want to take your 1/2 inches and fold them in. That's going to give you the 4 by 4 square. And then you want to fold on the X in both directions, like that. And I do have my bone folder right here. The only thing is I don't like to go too crisp on this, because it's double-sided. It's actually dyed, and if you do too much creasing, you'll actually see white through the paper. So you can use your bone folder, but be a little gentle on it. And then once you want to bring this right to that point, and then you would fold it like that. So this is your mechanism, right? Okay, and then at this point, folded together at your tabs, you kind of want to take those in at each end. And I've got them doubled up, so I'm getting all 4 corners at the same time, like that. Then you trash those. And the next thing that you're going to do, oh, I dropped it. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is you're going to line this up so that this score is lined up with your center score of your card, and then you're going to kind of move it up and down to where you have about the same. I just eyeball it, but you want 3/4 of an inch top and bottom, and that should work. Now, what I do next is on this tab, I'm going to just put some glue. You don't want so much glue that it seeps out and makes a mess on your card, but you want enough for it to be able to handle the opening and closing. So at this point, you're just going to bend it under You have a little bit of wiggle room and time. And this is, there you go. And now you can even fold it the way it's supposed to be in the end. So you put it here, and then you can put some glue on this tab. Same thing. You don't want so much that it makes a mess, but you want enough to be sure it sticks. Once you've done that, you can just close the card. Whoops, didn't leave it long enough, did I? All right, we need to sing a song or something. We'll take a look at it again. How's that? You open it up. May you gather happiness. How perfect for a birthday card, right? And then I just repeated the a square of the fall leaves up in the top left. The acorns, may you gather happiness, and then each of the squirrels that face the two opposite directions. Let's see if that was enough time to close it. I think so. Now, I think it is. It's looking good. Close, close, open, close. Okay, now, the next thing you're gonna have, and I used, again, it's the same sheet of DSP. And in fact, I originally cut a 4x4 square, which is great because you get 3 times 3, 9 of these from one sheet of paper. But before I cut it in half at 2 inches, I scored down the middle. See the score there? And this is what we're gonna decorate. So we're gonna decorate this, and then we're gonna do another one, and we're gonna decorate that. Now I'm noticing that it's not exactly in the halfway point. It wouldn't matter to the mechanism, but since I noticed it, I had to do something about it. Same here, which is just because when I measured my 4x4, I was probably off by like, you know, 1/32 of an inch, not a big deal. All right, so right now I'm gonna just decorate these and then we can put them in place. So here's my square that I cut earlier, and I'm just gonna put that in the center. And I love, because it brings up the crushed curry, the Cajun Craze, and the Espresso, as well as mimicking the leaves on the front of the card. Here we go. Doesn't matter which one of these I use, because theoretically they are measured exactly the same. Now you don't have to. I did try this where I had, can you see the margin on that? You could have a smaller margin all the way around, but I kind of liked it that way, so that's how I did it. And then I'm gonna add the words that are part of that set that say, may you gather happiness, and I put those in as well in the Cajun Craze. And just put it up here, right in the center. May you gather happiness. And then I put some more acorns. And you gotta have at least 3 before you can call it a pile. And that's what I'm trying to make it look like, a pile of acorns, kind of spread out. I need my take your pick, which is really in my craft tool right beside me here, but there you go. See, I like that. You just kind of want it to look random. So I'm gonna start with this one. I use 8 total acorns on this, and as I said, and I'll show you that if you cut a strip, you can just stamp, 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 and then with your punch, you can just punch that one out, then that one, then that one. And so you can just keep punching them along that way. So if I'm using a lot of acorns, I find that the easiest way to do it. And you don't have to cut them out, you just punch them out. So it's not a problem if you want 8 acorns on one card. So I have 3 on the front, and I have 5 on the inside, yeah. Okay, so we need, and you could use glue dots on these acorns, but the glue's right here, so might as well use it, right? And then I gotta make this look more like a pile, so what do I need to do? Make it go a different direction. Up in the air, how would you do it? That's good enough for me. I have a couple birthdays coming up in October. I have tons of birthdays in October. So I am excited to make these birthday cards. Okay, so that's one of these 2x4 stamped and decorated and ready to go. And then here is another one that I punched earlier, just as I showed you, here we go, how to do this one. To save time, I did this in advance. And again, he needs to hold an acorn. So let me show you how I colored them. So I just used the Espresso, early Espresso, and I went around the cap, the top cap, and then I went around the bottom side. That's all I did. And then with the crushed curry, I just came in and just did the bottom of it. That's how quick to just color in these acorns. And then I took my favorite Winka Stella and I just brought the espresso over the top, and then I got it down at the bottom, and then I pulled in some of the curry to get a little bit lighter there on the side, and it gives it kind of a pecan color or pecan color wherever you're from. And that's how I colored them. So now I'm going to start by punching out the first one and hoping that my finger hand doesn't wiggle too much. And I'm going to hold that there. It's easier to keep track of them while they're on a long piece. And again, as before, I'm going to put a little dot of glue on the back of his hand. And I'm just going to have him pick that up. I want more of my acorn showing just because I think the acorn is so cute. Such a cute acorn. Can acorns be cute? Oh dear, I don't know what just stuck to me and dropped on the floor. I hope it wasn't my sheet of acorns, but I see them beside me, so I think we're good. Come around here, there we go. And I'm gonna put, I like them facing each other. So I'm gonna, and his tail can hang off, that's not a problem. And you need to make sure that they don't overlap this score mark. So you have to have his tail hang off. Okay, hope that makes sense. There's my logo, hope that makes sense. Anyone who follows me would understand why I say that. If you're new here, I'm glad to have you. I'd love it if you would give me a like, whether you're new or a returning friend. Also, if you don't subscribe to my channel, but you're interested in any of these fun cards that I come up with, you know how that works. You can't visit YouTube and not understand why those who make videos hope and wish that everyone would like and subscribe. So I do thank you in advance for that. Now, this is the same principle. I did the outline and then I filled him in. He's so cute because you see so much more of this white part of his body and you have the two friends that way. But I had to cut him out myself. So I just wanted to let you know there is no punch for the opposite direction. It's fairly easy to cut out though. They're really wide cut marks. I do recommend you always leave a very small edge of the neutral on which you stamped. And before we go any further, we're going to put an acorn in his hand. So here we go. And then I just put a dot here. Whoa, that was a big dot. When I do a big dot, I like to kind of get some up with my finger. I kind of want this nut to look like it's in both hands. Acorn, is it a nut or an acorn? Or is it a nut of an acorn? I guess it's still a nut and it's still an acorn. Okay, and then we're gonna just put him in there. And we are almost done this card. Can you see how fast it goes? I love this. I love images with punches. Especially, I really like little animals, and I'm trying to think, I think I have another one that I really like right now that's also an image. I can't think of what it is though. It's driving me nuts. But I just love them because I love to pop things up, and it's just, you know, it takes longer to die cut, right? So I'm really loving these squirrels. And I have the old squirrels too, if anybody else does, and I think I'm gonna get around to having them all on a card. I'm just not there yet. So now we have these two decorated, and then I'm going to show you how to put those on this card. And so it's really as simple as we're going to do triangles of glue. I actually made this card a similar card. It wasn't exactly this card, but a very similar card. I just had different DSP, and the front looked different, and I might have it here. I can show it to you in a minute. I made it with my team. So what you want to do is you come down to the point, and you know that this should line up with your score mark here. And it should fold in. That's looking good, right? Except they're at the top. Well, I guess that doesn't matter. In fact, I might like it better. Well, I'm glad I made that mistake, because sometimes I like my mistakes better than my original thought. And I think that's going to prove to be the case this time. So just a reminder about our two-tone two-toned cardstock that's in solid colors, but all of our core colors. Another thing that I'm going to be showing you soon on a card is that if you emboss it and then go over it with emery board or other kind of soft filing for the results. So I'll show you that, and you'll see that soon. You know, I'm really excited. I think I might like this better. You know what? And you can tell me. May you gather happiness. All right, here we go. The original, which I say the original, I used a leftover squirrel. And you know, squirrels colors come in all sizes. This one's in the pecan pie, and this one's in the Cajun Craze. And I just really like I like them both, but on this card I like the Cajun Craze. So that's one difference. And the other is when you open it, we've got the squirrels at the top, and on this one we got the squirrels at the bottom. Let me know which one you like better. And I thank you again for giving me that like, for subscribing to my channel, and really just for visiting. Thank you.